Live. I'm just sending out some invites to my friends who are going to be joining Saliha and Odin. So, yeah, and Christmas and festive season and all that jazz. It is January 2025 now. But Positive Podcast mug, you can get these online. I'll be posting the link soon and posting where you can get these mugs if you want to get your hands on one. I'll send them out to you. So yeah, if you want to get your hands on one of these mugs, I'll be posting these very, very soon for this year. Right. Some more please. How you doing, Odin?
Hey Adam, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. Yeah. I'm just inviting
Hey, long time no see.
yeah, it's been a minute.
How you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. Yeah, all good.
Been a long
Just busy,
while.
busy. Yeah, it's been a while. It's tricky, isn't it? You know, with life and stuff and work and everything else. And Christmas is kind of crazy over here this time of year. I lose track of time and what day it is around Christmas.
Oh, same here. I lose time all year.
Yeah. Oh God, a week's gone by. But you been all right?
I've been great. Learning lessons. Lessons is all I learned. And the
Yeah,
game.
yeah, definitely.
We're,
Life's always full of lessons, isn't it?
we're waiting for Saliha.
Yeah, I'm just sending her the invite now. Um,
Great.
how is it in Egypt? Weather
Well,
good?
it's very cold. It's
Cold.
very cold.
Yeah, I can imagine it's
Here comes the
cold
great
here.
Saliha.
Hi.
How you
Hey,
doing? You all right?
Good. How are you guys?
we're
Yeah,
doing great. Long time no see.
all
Yes,
good.
back to the three trio. The three musketeers are back.
Yeah.
Guess who's back? Back again. Yeah, I got
Yes, we
the
are.
mug too. Where's your mug,
Hey,
Odin? Where's your mug? Oh, he's got the whole
Just,
merch
I just
happening.
had it there.
yeah. If you want to get this, you can follow the link in the yeah,
I've
Cheers,
got one too, and
guys.
it's
Cheers.
amazing.
yeah, yeah. I'll get them sent out.
Yeah, dishwasher safe.
Yeah,
How's everybody
yeah,
doing? Happy New Year.
Oh, happy New Year. It's
yeah.
been a
Happy New
year.
Year.
Yes, I'm getting older now, as you can tell.
I was just gonna tell you, you look younger.
Thank you. It's because I'm so connected to the universe and
I'm very
sleepless
sure.
nights.
Reversing age, of course.
Yeah, so good to see all three of us here. I'll let Adam take the lead because we are on his platform on the Parrsitivity
There
podcast.
you go,
We
sir.
have these Instagrams for those people who don't know this for like off and on last year. And every time we did it, there was a commitment to get it out to everyone just in this flow, casual way of how we talk as friends, but then as coaches, because Adam is an amazing coach, and we then have Odin, who's another amazing coach, and then myself, who claims to be amazing, but yeah, I believe I am. Apart from the funny bit, we have this commitment to give to others, to bring value to others, and always come from that heart space. And just see where the conversation goes. So I'll let Adam take the lead because he's the one who invited us. Thank you so much, Adam, for inviting us to this 2025 podcast. And I believe, I mean, when you do name it, I think you should maybe name it Thrive in 2025, like Thrive in 2025. And then we can just talk about like how, we can look at the future in 2025 and set our goals. Yeah.
Yeah, no, awesome. No, I really appreciate it, and I think like it's always great to have you guys on the show. And we've known each other for a while, and we always have good chats. I'm really grateful for you guys. And yeah, I think to start it off, we could talk about I think resolutions and goals and all that jazz. Because I think in the new year, people they'll set a long list on people, and I think goals are quite specific from what I've learned, and they're specific to each person.
Hmm.
And I think we have to, listen to ourselves and think about why we're setting a goal. Um, is it realistic, or is some of it quite dreamlike? And it's not to say, we can't achieve the ones that are very big. We can. It might take longer than the other goals that we set. And I
Hmm.
think sometimes, people feel like they have to set a load of goals because Joe Blogs is setting lots of goals, or they're doing certain things. And I think for some people, there's kind of pressure to feel like they have to set New Year's resolutions or goals. And particularly, it doesn't really matter what goals you set. It could be
Yeah.
you want to walk an extra 10 minutes, right? Where you live. It could be you want to read a book.
Hmm.
So I think it's okay to set small goals, it's okay to set big goals. You don't have to tell people about what goals you're setting. But I think the main thing is with all that is, consistency and repetition and self-discipline. Because when I go to the gym, there's new faces always in January, and then a few of those people will stay throughout the year, and some people will drop off, in February or March. So I find it very interesting what makes people, what sets people from those that stick to it and those that don't. And yeah, just doing the best you can each day, I think.
Yeah. And I can tell by your face that you're going to the gym. Yeah. Like it
Well,
looks like,
I
before
try
you,
to when I get time.
yeah.
I try. I haven't been this morning. I usually go after
Sure.
work if I get time. Yeah,
Yeah.
It's good as long as you keep on trying.
yeah, yeah, definitely. A little bit
Yes.
each week.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about goals and stuff and New Year kind of?
Yes, Odin.
Well, for me, I really believe considering a new year as a complete new book would be a fault. I really believe. I mean, we got to realize first that every year is a repeated year of the same year. It's just that we having we having get resetted, and that we're supposed to be learning from the year past, and then we gain advantage from the year past of what we learned. Then a new year comes, and then the cycle pattern gets repeated again. Whatever is going to come have already happened. It's just how we're going to be reacting upon it is also really matters. But then expecting a new year to simply be positive or whatever, positive or negative, simply without applying the work or without having the awareness that it's literally just a repeated cycles. I mean, we grow in a spiral, so we will always come back to the same pieces, back and forth. It is just evolving that would change things up. When you evolve, the circumstances get changed, but however, it's on the same ground level. It's how high you climb. It's a spiral. So it's either we
Hmm.
get stuck on a certain phase or cycle, or either we just go through it. That's how I
Yeah.
believe success is. What I believe goals is, the most important goal is to make sure that we do not fail the goals that we set at the beginning of each year is to stay committed to our own values. Because
Yeah.
everything can be changed, but your values is the only thing that keeps you grounded and uh, keeps you keeps you being authentic. That's what's really important. Otherwise, we always wear a mask. We just need to make sure that those masks are not affecting our values. That's really important. That's what I believe. What do you believe, Salah?
I love that, the masks and the values. Values is so important. in the new year, just to go through them, like what did I learn from the previous year, just writing down the things that I have achieved, like patting yourself on the back, and the things that I wanted to but I could not. And so to see that in it all, how did values play a role? Like, what was it that you got out of the thing that worked out? And so okay, the successful things, yes, pat on the back. So yeah, that kind of thing is something I value in it. Maybe it could be something like, I did some thing consistently. So maybe consistency is a value that I followed, and I, as you said, the gym part, Adam, I went consistently to the gym. So I value consistency. So extracting the consistency from the things that worked out, and also extracting the values out of the things that almost worked out or did not work out. And I believe that's where we learn the most, or we can get more awareness when things don't work out. Because when things work out, yes, they do, and it's like a pat on the back. But things, when you fail, that's when you learn the most. We learn through our failures. And I think that's the beauty of looking at it compassionately, yet going into it like, what can I do in the new year to make those goals happen? What was the missing bit? And then putting it in your goals. And the second thing about goals, which I wanted to add, was it's when you look at a goal and you put it out there, it's definitely the intention behind the goal which matters. I think that when you set a goal, let's say going to the gym, you can, if you're coming from a space of like, I have to go to the gym because everybody else goes and because I need to lose weight. And if I don't, it's a very like this, like maybe you don't really be as consistent because you're not very clear over here, right? The alignment is not there. It's a very resistant sort of like, if I don't, oh my God, I'm paying money for this. So there's no intention to the goal. It's just like my goal staring at me and I'm like, oh my God, I missed gym today. I'm feeling really bad. Whereas when you attach intention to the goal, let's say going to the gym 3 times a week, and we're talking about gym because Adam brought it up and we're thinking of just sticking to one example. It's always that one example, one idea, and then one way you can change yourself. So coming back to that one idea, if you have the same goal of going to the gym and have an intention of, it's good for like, because I know I have some mental health challenges, and when you do physical activity, it helps me come to a calmer place, that kind of intention. So if you have this intention and the goal is, okay, the gym, what if the gyms close, right? What if the gyms are not operating more? But because you have an intention, the universe or yourself or your alignment or your reticular activating system, which is when we think of something that we want, we see more and more of it. That's how the brain works, right? It will guide us. Should we allow ourselves to come to that awareness that my intention is above the actual having of it, right? As they say, the be, the do, the have. So the have is the goal and the be is the intention. So the be, do, have, the do becomes very fluid and becomes the way of just like being when you have the be above the have. So me, the goal is the have, the be is the intention, and the do comes very like fluidly, not that resistance way. So again, intention above goal. And if there's intention attached to a goal, you can go multiple ways, but the intention will always be satisfied in some way, shape, or form. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, no, I agree with you both, and I think what Odin said about values, and it's having your values aligned, isn't it, with who you are, and I think ultimately why you want to do that thing, whatever it is, and staying aligned to your values, and that kind of keeps you on track, I think, and also similar to what you said, with intentions and that be do have, and that helps to build, I think, like momentum with doing that thing. Once you're doing it, you're kind of in that swing of it, and it all kind of all aligns, doesn't it, really? But I think if you find out why you want to do that thing, whatever it is, then it's more purposeful, isn't it, to you doing that thing rather than just doing it for the sake of it or whatever, or because someone else is doing it.
Mm. Mm.
And also,
Very much agree with that.
yeah, and also I was just thinking in that, I don't know if you want to talk about it as well, but you mentioned in the our group chat a topic which I thought was quite important is having things on your mind or in yourself that's kind of unspoken, or if that makes sense, or holding on to things. Like, I think
Yes.
sometimes we can do that, and I think sometimes if you're busy, it's kind of not in our awareness. We're just doing it, if that makes sense. And that's almost like carrying like an extra sack of logs on your back, and I think that can compound over time. And it might be a small thing. It might be, I don't know, something you've got to say to somebody, or
Yeah.
do you know what I mean, or something you might just feel for whatever reason. And I think if you don't vocalize things, it's like if you're, I don't know, you're in a relationship or something, or something's happened, and a week goes by, and you might not have said, you might have forgot to say something, or you bring it up, and sometimes it can be much worse, like a week later, even if it's a small fucking thing, and then that's like a mountain. Do you know what I mean? Or a small thing could escalate to an argument, and there might be, I don't know, you didn't wash up the dishes or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Odin, would you like
I
to
very
say
much
something?
agree with. I very much agree. It's very lovely what you have just said. It's a very important thing to be speaking of because if we did not really speak out our emotions, whether negative or positive, it would not actually be counted. It will only be in the head, and then the head would try to resolve it all by itself without any reality to it, and that would put us into, let's say, a delusion, unrealistic story in the head, and that unrealistic story in the head has its own emotions. Well, then that emotions, we keep on thinking of it, then will become our own thoughts, and then our actions would be coming from those emotions, and therefore, any little thing would be felt like a mountain, and that's the reason, because we never spoke it out. So when we did not speak it out, it's more of a delusion in the head. It makes us lose reality or grounding because we are in a puzzle inside the head trying to make a picture out of whatever we're having, but then not putting it out either verbally or to be written. It is not by necessary has to be spoken to someone. It only has to come out into the reality, into the 3D reality, rather than the mind delusion. Because the mind is not us, it's the mind, it's the intelligence. So once we speak it out, we put it into reality, then it becomes more real than we would be realizing if it's whether necessary or not. Because if it's necessary, then we're gonna find an answer. If it's not necessary, then we would not be really much interested to be putting it out because then we're going to be realizing that it was all bullshit in the head. It was all cleaned up by emotions, certain emotions, that because we are not having peace with them. So peace is what we are really looking out for. But then if we did not reach out to peace, it becomes more of an addiction to to seek attention all the time. It becomes a habit. So speaking out is always important. All the time, speaking out emotions, but we always need to make sure that speaking out is not by necessary to an individual. It's always better to speak out to your own self with your own space, or we can even journal. And I believe that's what we all need, not attention. Falling to attention seeking is dangerous, gonna put us in a repeated loop without any reason behind it. And that would make us more of a program that's going on a loop without anyone having attention to it. and it keeps on going and going and going. That's it.
That's it. Exactly. And you talked about peace, right? So, I mean, I'm pretty sure you talked about the peace here in our heads. And another way to look at it is finding calm, right?
Yes.
Because I do work at creating retreats and women's circles, and they're all calling out, finding calm, right? But when I speak to the moms that I speak to in my circles, I always say, what is your inner monologue, right? Let's go within, because you can come to a beautiful place with lovely food and lots of yoga and meditation and waterfalls and connecting with nature, but if your inside here is still like chaotic, or like as Kyle C says, a lobby of people talking inside your head, then you're always going to be internalizing pain and things that you overthink, and also externalizing in a way that you might blame, complain, and point fingers at other people, right? So in order to find calm, as Adam also pointed out, the inner communication is what I call it. In other words, as what he was saying, is that we need to get into places, spaces, and also take out time for ourselves where we can sit down and get to know what we really do think inside. And so some of us, it can be very, very hard because maybe there are multiple voices that speak in our heads. All of us have a very different processing system in our brain, and it can feel like a very, very scary place to tap into. But I always encourage everyone that if you can't do it alone, go ask for support, get a coach, or get a friend who you completely trust, a friend who works with empathy, not sympathy. And just to clarify, empathy is like you sit with someone, you say like, this is what you're going through, and you hold space for them and you just hear them out. There's no judgment. There's no trying to work it out straight away. It's just like, I'm here, just like the well, right? And the other one is the sympathy, is where there's this strong inclination to trying to save this person straight away and fix them straight away. Like, oh, you're having this problem. Let me tell you what my problem is. There's a lot of ego in it, even though it comes from a good place. So coming back to the idea of inner communication, really, I think one of the best things we can do is sit down with ourselves and get to know what we are thinking. Let's say, as Adam said, it can just be those dishes, and somebody can get really fired up because the dishes are not done. But the inside would have taken some time to build that mountain of not saids for that one said to become the optimum level of like, now I need to tell this person how I really feel. And then it comes to the idea of reacting and responding, right? And from a, ooh,
How's that me? What about
fireworks
yourself?
happening there. Okay, so from a NLP mindset place, we all know there's two ways we can simplify into how we can say something to someone when we don't know what to say. And one way of going with it is responding, where you could say the same thing like, I did not like what you said. When respect is not being served at the table, I would rather leave. That kind of communication. Or you go like, I don't like what you said. I'm going to leave the table now. That's reacting. So we have to find a balance, because I think Gabor Mate did a study on women in Australia. So it was this study, and he found women who kept everything inside, and the women who over like screamed everything out and said, I don't like this, like that kind of expression, they both were having a bad effect on their body, and they were both more susceptible to diseases, disease. And so the idea then is to come to a middle place, because it's healthier for our body, because our body is listening, our cells are listening. And so if we talk to ourselves, our cells better, we will feel better. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with you both, and it just makes me think about a podcast I did with Mark Dawes yesterday, and he talked about this, and he said, our cells and within our bodies respond to, thoughts and feelings, and as you said, if you are containing things that are maybe negative, then you're more susceptible to disease, or colds or health problems and things like that, I think. And I think it's why it's important, is, we said to, vocalize what might be going on, write it down. I think you've got to, from my experience, you've got to have some kind of outlet, to put that energy, shift your focus in a way, to shift that mood or that emotional state. And I think if something's not being vocalized to a human, then I think they might pick up on it through your energy. Or if there's something on their end, I think, you're going to pick, if you're, aware, you're going to pick up on what might be going on with them. And I think if you're not vocalizing stuff, then it's just like adding fuel on the fire, if that makes sense. And that's where sometimes passiveness behavior comes in, from what I've experienced in previous relationships. Yeah. And the unspoken, and then the behavior, which then you have to not question yourself, because people might be acting in a way which is passive, and they're thinking X, Y, Z, and then you're picking up on stuff, and it can get really, really shit if it's not dealt with. And I think you have to deal with stuff. And as we said, it's not healthy for us to contain and hold on to stuff. I think we're designed to shift and grow and change as humans, and not to stay stagnated in ruminating on bullshit that might not be bullshit, but when we make it, so
It's all bullshit in the end.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
a state of awareness, isn't it? It's the awareness of the bullshit. It's like, I get it. It's an awareness that it was all bullshit in my head, right? The
The
BS.
more awareness,
The
the
inner
more bullshit.
BS.
Yeah,
The inner BS.
I'm very
but I
That
think.
sounds
Do you
much
think?
agree with that.
Yeah. No, you continue, Odin.
Yeah, you keep on mentioning great uh, topics over here. You just said that we are not bodies, rather than we are more of spirits. Sorry. Let's take it on a deeper level over here. So, not speaking out is on a deeper level, has a very great impact on our own self. So let's take it in this way. So let's consider our chakras are more of an antenna. Each antenna has a certain frequencies, set up frequency. Then whatever we gain from the outside keeps on piling up on a certain chakra. And then if we're really piled up on a certain chakra, that would put us in a very risky situation, and that would really affect our manifestations throughout our life, because we're very much accumulated from the inside. And each, let's say it in this way, each emotion has a certain frequency. So the more lower frequency we're accumulated with, the more our emotions would be coming out of that. Our imagination, our whole life, our life story itself would be coming out from that set of frequency that we have from our inside. So the more we vibrate on whatever higher frequency we are focusing on, and that is according to the accumulation, or the to the frequency that we are speaking out of. So let's say negative emotion. A negative emotion is very much accumulated in our own self. We haven't really resolved it out. We just kept in our own self, but then it kept on piling up. Keeping that piling up, our focus would automatically be there. And if our focus is right there, we will keep on manifesting whatever the frequency that we are vibrating on. And we keep on manifesting from that frequency. So it will be very low frequency. And then our life situation, story comes out from there. So awareness is what's really important. There's some set of, I mean, chakra is really, really important because it's all emotions, it's all energy. So it's all that we have to do is inner work. The more inner work, the more peace. The peace comes when the chakra is aligned. The chakra would only be aligned if we really clean up every time and not accumulate a certain frequency. Rather, we keep on going up and down, and that's the true balance. Going up and down, that would keep a balance. But then staying up or staying low would have the opposite reaction as well. So we are vibrating very, very high and we stay up high, then obviously we're going to flip to the very negative on the opposite side. But if we keep on going up and down, I mean, checking on ourselves, that's fine. But then staying in a certain position for a long period of time, we're going to have to admit and be aware that we're going to be living the same period of time on the opposite frequency as well. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like how you
And
said,
I
we have
heard,
to clean up our frequency every time. Clean up the negative frequency every time you go through that situation in life. Yeah, go on, Odin.
we need to make sure that we keep on changing our tuning frequencies every now and then, or else we'll
I
burn
love the
out.
frequency. Yeah.
What do you think, Sally, with that?
I love how you talked about frequency, because if you come to that level, that's where we are. We're intrinsically, we are vibration. We are, then what is vibration? Vibration is frequency. Then what is that? That's wavelength. What's wavelength? It's just that who we are, whatever energy we carry, is our, the magnetic aura around us is all coming from that frequency within, right? So we think we are this body, and we think we have this voice, and we think we have these eyes, but we are intrinsically just frequency. And what does that give us an intel into? It's exactly what Odin said, that if we know we are frequency and we realize that negativity is a place that brings us to this place of feeling that we're stuck, feeling that, oh my God, there's grief, oh my God, like what's going to happen? And that's usually where people get depressed also, or are stuck in an anger loop, or a feeling of loss, all those negative sort of that level of being in the 3D is coming from that thinking that you are stuck, right? And the more you sit in awareness, as Oren said, our frequency gets a chance to not be like just feeling like I have all these bad moments in my life. It turns, when we do awareness, if our frequency was like this when we were sitting in the negativity, awareness still has all those negative aspects, but it would probably open up like a flower, not like this crazy cage. So in metaphorically speaking, I feel like the process is coming from a cage and turning the same thing into a flower. And they talk about it as transmutation as well. I love transmutation because it says that how can you turn the energy of something that's happened really bad in your life into like a creation way of doing something that can bring some kind of value or joy, or something that leaves an impact on the world. And I love the concept of transmutation. It's very interconnected with what Odin said, and it's just a step up from that. In it, I just would like to say, in terms of transmutation, I find that, and Jim Carrey is also one of my favorite speakers, because we know he's very spiritually inclined. And what he said in a little clip that I saw yesterday, he said that, depression, the opposite of depression is creation, right? So that's again, if you have that really bad this place, and you create the same thing looks like this, and that flower can bring something to someone who needs that. For instance, we've been through something bad, and then we decide to become a coach And when we're talking to one of our clients, and that person says, I've gone through this, and you're like, aha, how can I use what I've been through and the learnings from it, right? You can't say that, this is what happened with me. You have to go for the learnings from it. What are the learnings from it that I can then show them that there is a brighter picture, or something that can get them to think in their unique situation as how they can find the little dots out of, like, be the way shores for these people. And I think that's beautiful that transmutation can work like that as coaches. There are many ways you can do this. For instance, a mom could be walking on the street, and she could be feeling sad, and she would suddenly see a little boy who's asking for money, and she sits down with the boy, talks to him, why is he on the road and everything, like that connection. And then she decides, like, how about I buy you some lunch, right? That can be her way of transmuting the energy that's making her feel low. And it's funny how that one act, which is very heart-led and very intuitive, because you have to be in that awareness, as Odin says, the awareness leads you to the way you can do it. But if the awareness is not led by you, as in you don't think you deserve to be happy, or you think that you are not worthy of that sitting down and, I just have to be busy. I know, met him up the other day, was like, I just have to be busy. I don't have time for myself. That you're stuck in that cage. And I'm not like pointing fingers or judging anyone, but I'm saying that there are two ways of being, and there's an in between, which is awareness and transmutation. What do you think, Adam?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you both, and I think there's so many layers to this, isn't there? But what comes up for me was, talking about energy and frequency, and what comes up is I was doing a trauma stabilization course through work, and well, people in the NHS were running it, and it was talking about, past PTSD and trauma and different types of trauma. And I went in the room, it was in person. There was about me and 11 other people. And how I felt throughout the day was like a wave. But I noticed in myself, my energy, through my self-awareness and the frequencies that I was picking upon in myself, was that it was changing. And I realized I was connecting with traumas that was being discussed, in the slides, in the modules in the course. And some of that stuff I wasn't aware of, but I noticed it in myself. And obviously it was my childhood from maybe, school and all that jazz. And I noticed when we had a break, I went out into town and my energy was different. I felt like a bit of anxiety, and it was obviously stuff that, I needed to let go of. But touching on those topics triggered certain frequencies in me. And I think, like, as you said, it's kind of like that post-traumatic growth almost. It's taking the stuff that's happened to you, those experiences, and using that to help, do you know what I mean, fueling into what you do today. Do you know what I mean? From those. So, like you said, I think we've all had, negative experiences or certain frequencies that aren't ideal, but we are I think we're all using past negative frequencies to our advantage, if that makes sense. So I think we all, in what we do, use it for the greater good, if that makes sense. If that's what kind of comes to my mind with frequencies and energy and, what comes up for us as people. I think we have a choice, don't we, what we choose to do with that frequency. And I think if you didn't have that, you couldn't relate to people. I think if you see someone going through something, you could probably identify with that because you might have been in that place one day. So I think it can be a positive in the long run, if that makes sense, in the future.
I agree. It makes sense. Really, it's very important for us to be taking responsibility of the baggage that we are carrying in order for us to resolve it or to be taking action toward the responsibility. First of all, we need to realize that, oh, we have a baggage, but then comes fight or flight. We either open up the baggage or we just leave it there, being scared of what it would containing, but the responsibility of becoming. I mean, life is more of triggers, and those triggers is more like an alert, a trigger alert. Oh, you have a baggage, and then how you really figure out what's the weight of the baggage is through our sensation, to the feeling of heaviness that we're feeling. The more heavier, the bigger the baggage, and the bigger the challenge of fight or flight comes over here. But then taking responsibility is more of opening up that baggage and check what's in it. So there is a great chance that the baggage might be very big from the outside, but on the inside, it could be really empty. It's, then we realize, by being the awareness, that the baggage that we were holding was only a space, while in it, it's empty. And the thought of the baggage size itself, being aware to it, had put us in an illusion that, oh, it's a big bag, therefore it's heavy. But then taking responsibility and opening up the baggage, finding out what's inside it, realizing that it's empty, we come to an awareness that we need to get rid of it, because it makes us fall into illusion that it's a big baggage. Well, it's not. As well as, if we would want to make ourselves easier, we would surely get rid of the baggage because it's empty. However, that's how I believe it is.
Mm.
I like it.
No, I
I
agree.
like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I love the metaphor of the empty bag. It's like when you have the bag, you think, "Oh my God, it's so heavy," but then when you open the bag, you're like, "Oh, it's empty," and that's
I
the
was fooled the whole time carrying an empty baggage. But accepting that we are fools is the most courageous thing to be doing.
You see, sometimes I think what happens, Odin, is that I was just taken to a scenario in my life. There was this friend who I didn't talk to for such a long time since school, right? And I just always thought that my friend thinks that I just left their friendship and I was probably the bad guy in their story. And I didn't realize that I carried that with me for a long time, like being the bad guy in their story. And it just hit me like 20 years later that that person is alive in this world. Why can't I just talk and say, like, how are you going? And this is what I think happened, even though in the past, and you've grown and you've had children and whatnot. 20 years is a long time from school, but like still be like open with yourself enough to say that I won't like now wait another 20 years to say this. And just having that clear communication and then with that communication, I realized, we were laughing in the end of it because we were like, remember when this happened? Remember when this happened? When you did this, the song you played, this and that. And I was thinking, wow, that always feeling guilt and shame for the way that thing ended is just in our system stuck because maybe we think egoistically that I should not contact them because they are on their healing journey. So why should I be someone and they can survive without me? When you're younger, you do that. But then I think it took me 20 years to realize that it was in my subconscious that I hadn't let go of that I left that connection like this, like completely. And so what I did was we talked about the good times, we talked about the happy times, and literally it was the empty bag, Odin. It was more like even like butterflies came out of it rather than like there was a metamorphosis that came out of it rather than dead caterpillars or worms, which I thought I was carrying on my back. So good analogy. I
It
can
becomes
relate.
No, I
funny
agree.
because we get to know that we were fooled, and being a
Yeah.
fool is the most comedian thing ever.
Mm. Mm. I think we're very hard on ourselves, Adam. I think we can be very hard on ourselves. I think the more aware we get, the more we become aware of the situations at a deeper level, the ones that we've had in the past, and the people who are in our present. And that's also, as they call, the curse of being the aware one, where you feel things deeper, you know things deeper. At the same time, you know like how relationship dynamics work and what happens, and that this is all just attachment, and we are far beyond. We are a frequency. We're not this space, as the Rumi saying of I'm not this face, I'm not this skin, I'm not. So when we realize that, and we're still living in the world, that's the balance between the earth and the sky, right, as they call it. That's how we need to be on this planet. That's it. We face all these pains and challenges because that's why we're living. And if you watch that movie Soul, I know Odin has, we have, I mean, how much that soul wanted to go and live their life again when they were taken up, right? Like, can I
I've
be
seen that
back in
film.
my body? Yeah. So go on.
No, I've seen that film as well, and it's quite deep, isn't it? That's the Pixar movie,
Yeah.
right?
It's literally the
It's
Yeah, yeah,
best
Pixar,
yeah.
Disney,
animation
same thing.
I have ever seen. It's the most deepest explanation to the spiritual realm.
Yeah. Pixar and Disney are the same. So go on, Adam. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's really deep, and I think it's a great example of, you know, kind of what we're talking about.
Hmm. Hmm. You see, like, if we've come to the planet, then we have to, I mean, if we look at it from this perspective, we have to face the challenges. We have to kind of go through the yucky bits. And I think that's what we would have done when we were younger, and many people do, is to do it all alone. But I think the greatest awareness that has come to me, and I'm sure it's come to you guys too, that you cannot do it alone. Yes, there is a
Absolutely.
thing called solitude. There's a thing called being in solitude and things like that. I understand that, and I'm like that too. But if you cannot take it, and if you cannot handle certain things in your life, you need to ask for help.
Mm.
And there's no shame in asking for help. I think you rather ask for help than to keep everything inside you and let it build up, as Adam pointed out earlier. And I always say, think allowing ourselves to ask for help is the first thing, because I remember when I asked to had to ask for help, I didn't think my problem was worthy to even mention to someone, because I thought, just because I feel a certain way, is that important than somebody dying in a war, right? So asking for help without judging yourself is also something.
Mm. No, I agree, and I think especially being, a male is quite stigmatized. I think in the UK, I know where I live, it's kind of like a lot for some people. They've grown up thinking, oh, just crack on, just get on with it. Do you know what I mean? And it's like there's more. I think groups. There's more charities. There's more. There's a group called Man Down where I live, and it's like a group where men go to talk about their mental health. So I mean, there are more services now for, I think, males especially to talk about what's going on, because I think for
Mm,
many years, especially in the UK or in the West, um, men don't cry. Men, I don't know, men don't talk about certain things. Do you know what I mean? You're the strong, you have to be strong and all the rest of it. And I think, like you said, it's okay to
mm,
talk about stuff. Do you know what I mean? I've had clients offload and talk about their traumas, and do you know what I mean? Like, men, and
mm,
and and I'm like, that's okay. It's okay to do that. Do you know what I mean? It's okay for females to do that, and vice versa. And I think, we live in a time now where it's more accepted and people are more open. I like to think to open up about things, and I think people have to be ready at the same time. Um, everyone's on their own journey, aren't they? And I think, as we talk about like New Year's and things like that, we're always learning, and I think it's important. I think to check in, isn't it? It's important to check in with yourselves and do like an MOT check almost.
Well, bringing up this topic is really great. Speaking of the topic of men going to therapy, while there are too many men not going to therapy because they are accumulated with emotions, coming to fact that we, as a society, could be very harsh on men, saying that men is this, and that, and he's a mountain, and he's not supposed to be having emotion. But that's the most stupid fact to be ever said because it doesn't make any sense for a man to not be having emotions. Otherwise, he would be a person without any empathy. That doesn't make any sense. But then coming to an understanding that a man is a mixture of feminine and masculine energy, and each one of them represents too many things of sensation. Speaking of feminine energy is more of emotions, it's more of being connected to self, being sensitive. And if we really neglected our feminine energy side, then that would make us harsh, would make us self-neglecting ourselves and accepting unrealistic fact that a man is not supposed to be having any emotions, though he's not supposed to cry out. Well, that is not a man, then he's more of a robot without any emotions, and that could be a very dangerous man. A man that can really express his emotions and be able to regulate them is the real masculinity, because to become a masculine man, you need to balance. Make sense?
Makes sense, completely makes sense. And I feel like, a man becomes very attractive when he is able to balance the yin and the yang,
That's why
the
I'm
feminine.
very attractive, am I not?
What did he say? Is he taking ownership, responsibility for
Oh,
that?
well, I'm a little bit confident.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
trying to be
sorry.
humble.
He's got a point. He's got a point. He's got a point.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
I stand to be an example. Here I am.
Okay, there you go. So we're
But
talking
I can
about
be
Odin
an
here, the
example on the opposite
overactive
as well.
person.
You
Wait, let's not
can
be,
hit
yeah, as I said,
you can hit
in
him up with his direct message.
yeah, you know how in NLP they say chunking up, we're going to chunk down, we're going to be specific. We're talking about Odin here.
But
Nobody
we're just
else.
trying to be
Nobody in the
humble.
world. It's only Odin who's the attractive one. Nobody else.
I'll put his
So
email
this is also a
address in the
portfolio.
inbox.
Yeah. So this is a portfolio for Odin. Contact him.
And
He's in
please,
Egypt,
guys.
ladies. Yeah, the Egyptian guy who's got his yin
If you want
and
to balance
yang.
out, please reach out.
Being a woman, I can tell you that he is what he is.
Yeah.
Come on, women, contact him.
I'm very,
Yeah,
come on, I'm humble.
he's humble. Look, he's got his head like this. He's like humble, etc., etc., etc.
She's
Yeah.
very
Very humble.
right.
Yeah. You need to have that head turban right now and go like, I'm very humble. Come on, wife.
Yeah.
I'm
Wife
working
for
on
wife.
that.
With you, the word wives is coming rather than wife. Looking at you. Yeah, he's like, I'm open to it. Yeah, okay, the four wives, religiously speaking.
Trying to balance that as well.
Yeah.
It's
I
all
love
true
the
though, isn't
whole
it?
balancing. Again, yes, it's very attractive, meaning that your inner magnetism becomes 10 times when, as a man, you can balance your masculine and feminine. It's true for women too, but because we have had a whole era of men trying to be more masculinated in terms of thinking what a masculine energy should be like, right? Like the things that magazines show, or like certain celebrities, or like boxers and people, fighters, they tend to glorify that whole like, I am strong and I don't like feel things, and let's just drink it off, or like your feelings, did you shed a tear, he's so right. So that whole mateship, telling each other that what a man is and what's not, like it starts from school for boys, I'm very sure, where like if you just be like, I like butterflies, and you're like, get out of my friend zone, right? Boys do that to boys, and then you're like, because I love butterflies, I'm not one of the boys. Should I now try to grow a mustache? And you keep looking at your face as a boy, like, when will my mustache come out? And the other boys have still not got a mustache. And it's all about that belief and ideas, the blueprint of what boys mostly grow up with. Like, I have to be like the other boy, or my body's supposed to look like that boy. But if you have a balanced someone around you who can tell you that you believe in yourself is more important, knowing yourself is more important, sharing your feelings is more important. When we meet someone in our life, I think it's maybe for most boys it's the first girlfriend they meet. If she's someone, or the first or second or third, wherever it clicks, like, aha, she's a good, like, she's that woman I'm learning and growing with. They are a good mirror. The other sex or the other gender is, I mean, it sounds like something else when I said the other gender, but basically the female in your life as a male is the first one who shows you the mirror of saying your feelings are okay, your face is okay just the way you are. So what if you don't have a mustache? Or like, they're like, I love you for who you are. And then I think boys generally go into like, wow, okay, nobody ever told me that. Nobody ever told me that I am someone inside too, that I don't have to have that car, or like be like, like this kind of a guy who's got this cool hoodie on and things like that. She loves me for who I am, rather than who I think I should be. I think those are little doorways to get in touch with your soft feelings. What do you think, Adam? I think that's what happens
Yeah,
for
no,
most boys.
I think in regards to mustaches, it takes me about a month or 2 months to grow mine. So I mean, this is like hard work for me. But the I think people, like you said, like your partner should be there to kind of be there to affirm and understand you,
Yeah.
and I think get you. And if they're with you for the right reasons, it doesn't matter what you have materialistically, or whatever. And they should see those values in you and be able to communicate with you and empathize with you if you're in a certain place. I think it becomes problems when it's the other way. Then that's not healthy. Um, but that's people's choices if they're in those situations. But we're talking about, like, masculinity and stuff. I don't know if you've seen the movie. I watched the Elvis film. It's really, really random, but
Yes,
I was
yes.
watching it, and the females like loved that guy, and he was a good-looking guy.
Mm,
And even I was like, wow, what a man. Do you know what I mean? Like
mm,
like when you think of a man, like
mm,
he
mm,
was strong. Yeah, and
mm, mm.
it's real. I ended up crying. It came out of nowhere. I was watching it with my girlfriend, and I
Yeah.
felt all this emotion at the end of the movie,
Mm.
and I felt a bit embarrassed about that. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I I think, yeah, like it's quite a deep topic, really, but it's okay to do that, and I
It's
think it's okay to
okay.
express
Mm.
emotions, and I think you have to have some kind of role model, or do you know what I mean, like someone you can aspire to as a male or female or whatever.
Yeah, you need them. Like, it can be also a very enlightened mother, or it can be someone who is a man who's balanced in your life, like your uncle, or somebody who's like, or a teacher who says like, it's okay. You can be different, or you can be yourself. You don't have to be like the other boys. So just certain, like these little inkling of thoughts that open up the bubble most boys get stuck in of believing that they have to be this brute force guy, right? Again, I really do believe, Odin, as well, like maybe you can talk about it, that uh, when my friends also we talk about like how someone like a guy cried when they were watching movie or something like that. We actually like that. And I'm saying
Well,
that because we would rather have, as women, we would rather have men who can be like, I feel like this, or I feel like dancing, or I feel like, just listening to opera. Um, and it feels like then we can connect with them more. And then being the man too when we need them to be the man. So it's like we want the balance. We don't want these like guy. I think hurts girls to see men who keep things inside, because and I think women can't express it to men when they see a man keeping things inside, and a man can't express it to the woman that what he's actually thinking. That's also something that's happening in our society now. I hope that
well, I
sounded
would
deep.
really end up. It is very, very deep. And I very much agree with all those facts. I would end up this topic with this: if all the mention we haven't, I mean, if all that we have mentioned is not being performed, is not being balanced, well, then let's guess what would be the result.
Mm,
Men and women are not able to identify themselves as man or woman and
mm,
lost in the colors of rainbows. I mean,
Yeah.
that is because of their unbalanced feminism and masculinity. There's no balance, there's rainbow. That's how it goes. Being unable to understand what gender you are, being not able to understand because yeah, a man figure is not able to identify himself as a man. The reason for that is he's not able to feel the energy of a man in himself because the energetic balance went off and he would start reacting out more feminine. And that's because he thought that he's a female or whatever. So he's growing from that energy, disordered energy, a mixture on off, lost. And therefore the body responds physically or become it. What we think we become.
Yeah, it's quite a complex topic, isn't it? I mean, I think people should be allowed to be themselves, whatever that is. But I think the reasons why people are who they are, people don't know really in themselves why. I mean, it's and
Like
yeah,
awareness.
hmm,
I
yeah,
feel
definitely.
Odin, I would just say that, I think what we're trying to get at now is the idea of being open with your feelings. When we're open with our feelings, then whether it be a man or woman, I think it comes down to the inner communication. And that can only be tapped into when we are open with our feelings. And I think, whatever people do in their lives is like the whatever way they want to manage their specific gender. What I'm trying to say here is that we can start with just, men, especially men, being more open with their feelings. So even if it's like, I am not happy with that, and a man's not speaking up, then he needs to speak up without having to always trying to make the female feel comfortable, because one day it's going to come out anyway that I wasn't happy with a particular thing. And coming back to the dishes idea of what Adam said has been looping back. Is like, what if it's the dishes and what he's been keeping inside is for 5 years? He didn't tell her because he was like, I want her to feel comfortable. I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to pain her. But well, you are paining yourself men don't recognize their pain themselves when they keep things inside. And I think that's what the organization that you're talking about, Adam, too, might be also looking into, is the pain men cause themselves and the inner diseases that the inner disease that can happen by keeping that pain inside, and
Yeah,
not expressing
I
your
think
needs
I
and
think
setting boundaries.
I've learned. I think I've learned to do that because I mean, like, there was an incident where I'm very efficient with dishes. Like, this sounds really crazy, but I used to wash dishes in a hotel. So I liked, if I eat something on a plate or bowl, I'll get it, I'll do it there and then, wash it up, done. Whereas, I don't know, sometimes some people might use something, leave it, then do it later. Whereas I will just pick it up, get it, do it, done. But like you said, if you don't vocalize stuff or you don't do stuff, it can soon become like a volcano. So I think, like, that's with anything, isn't it? That's with, like, is it the dishes? Is it something someone did, something someone said? And if you don't vocalize it, it's almost like a pebble in your shoe, and it just kind of grows over time. But also, to like round up, I just want to say, I saw you, Saliha, you put on your story. You're making a video, which is awesome. I don't know if you saw that, Odin. Saliha was making a movie or something.
Yeah, I was in the
She's,
outback of
she's, she's the
Australia.
greatest director.
I was in the outback. I went to this
Nice.
farm, which was about 2,300 acres.
Wow.
Um, and we basically, I was appointed as the main filmmaker. This is Noure. Say hi, everybody. Hi. Hi.
You
Hi,
right?
She got
Nuri.
hold. She's literally grown
You've
on this
grown up.
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're growing
That's Adam.
up so
Remember?
fast, Nuri. You're like mama.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
mimicked Adam Parr one day. She put on my glasses when she was younger in 2020, and she said, "What did you say?"
I don't remember.
I said, "Hello, I'm Adam Parr,
You put on a
and this is a
British
Parrsitivity
accent.
podcast." Okay. So anyway, I went there I was a main filmmaker. Went 3 days, just returned last night, and I'm super tired. But I thought I'll do this podcast. But it was amazing. I was with like horses and wild dogs, and like anywhere I
Wow.
stepped, there could be like something that could like hurt me. But I was like hipping, like jumping. I shot the whole film standing on a truck because that
Wow.
needed to be a bit away from the horses. So I was given like that kind of like view of filming. Do you want to say hello?
No.
So anyway, so let's say hello. He's got his Sonic shirt on.
Ow.
Has anyone seen the Sonic movie? It's amazing.
It's Sonic 3.
Sonic.
It was the
Wow.
best. It was very, very funny. It had Jim Carrey in it.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
good, Jim Carrey. It's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah, very, very good. Ow.
So I need to
We'll have
teach
to
my
watch
son a
it.
bit about not being so masculine. He's being a bit masculine with my
he's
daughter right
lovely.
now.
Let me
He,
put
he,
my
he
back on.
avoids he avoids
Leave her
people,
alone.
and and that's, I can understand, avoiding people is really good. Let him do that. How about that person who would
You
avoid
guy.
people?
Yeah. So yeah, so it was an amazing experience. I got to film with this horse whisperer who is,
Nice.
they have the whole shamanistic way of, breaking the horse and getting them to, listen to the owner. In the end, it was so beautiful to watch this really wild horse trotting in circles, and then he came to the slow circle. And the thing with the horse whisperer was Patrick Harris is his name. He never
Wow.
gave up. He never, like, there was so much patience while filming. Like, even I was like, oh my God, like, we've been standing here for 20 minutes for this one, like, training thing. And he's just very slow with the horse. Like, he will do it when he wants to. He will do it when he wants to. And then watching the horse just follow him everywhere after being like this really jumping up and down kind of horse. So yeah, it's very, very spiritual. He's one of those amazing regional Australia horse trainers. He's a horseman who decided to do NLP to train horses. So he
Wow.
basically
Oh,
uses NLP to train
that's
horses.
great.
So we literally went from like changing the confidence of one horse, breaking down negative beliefs for one, doing parts integration for one. we literally did all that and switch patterns for the horses. Can you believe that? That was like
Wow.
what was being done for the horses. Like it was
It's
Another
magic.
level,
fascinating.
Yeah.
another depth.
So
When it's out, I'll promote it. We'll promote it whenever you've put it together. I'll
yeah,
share it.
yeah. There's lots to edit right now, but I will put on a lot of behind the scenes and I'll tag you guys in it.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes, there was a lot of
Really,
fun moments. But
it
like,
was
I'm really grateful
really
because
great.
Patrick, I bought all the equipment for Patrick, and as he was so grateful in the end. And I'm saying it not to like put myself on a pedestal, but literally he said that because of your professionalism, which I've never seen in anybody I've hired before, I want you to have the equipment. So all the equipment that I
Lovely.
bought
That's
for the
very lovely.
project, yeah, like I bought all the equipment from the project from Sydney to Dubbo. Basically, I flew to Dubbo, which is about 45 minutes flight. Then we drove on a rent-a-car 2 hours far back to the regional part of Australia. And I brought all the equipment there. I did the shoot, and he's like, "You keep the equipment, like the camera, the mics, everything that I got for you.
Uh,
Like he said,
That's very
use it for your project."
rewarding.
Yeah, I felt like, "Are you
you
sure? Like,
deserve
are you?
that.
Is this
You
really
deserve
happening?"
it.
That's
So
what
I'm really grateful,
appreciation is called.
really grateful. Yeah.
That's
Do you have something?
awesome.
That's a great
I'm
story.
not. Yeah.
It is a great
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
And I'm really
So
happy to be really connecting with you guys after a very long
yeah.
time. It was very great
Yes.
speaking about
Oh,
all these. We
well,
always
Odin is
make
in the
sure that
Egypt.
we surprise. Yes, I'm
Odin
in
is also
the
up to
land of the
something great.
pyramids.
Odin, you're also up to something. What's happening with you? Just an update so we can like, remember this video
Well, I'm
is
building.
20.
Well, actually, but make sure it's kept as a secret. I'm building the fourth pyramid.
Hmm.
Well,
He's setting up
three
his
is
own
not
Peaky
enough, so I thought
Blinders.
of the fourth pyramid.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
He's setting up his own Peaky Blinders
Hmm.
crew, aren't you? Over there.
Yeah.
Absolutely, the Egyptians Peaky Blinder.
Peaky
Yeah.
Blinders. Again, horses.
Cool.
I was thinking of Peaky
Yeah.
Blinders there with the horses.
Nature
Yeah.
we always go back to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's been great talking to you guys, and
There you go. Yeah.
I
Thank you,
wish you
everyone.
both all the best
Bye.
and all that
Yeah.
you do. So look, I wish you all the best in all that you do, and it's fantastic what you do in Odin, fantastic what you do in Saliha, and we'll share your film when it's out, and let me know, and we'll do this again soon.
I'm so happy we're talking. It's like good old
Yeah,
times.
same
Thank
here.
you so much, Adam. I know you will. I know you will. And I'm so grateful that we have such a supportive group. We don't talk all the time. We are not always in connection, but wherever we are in the world, we know that,
Mm,
we are connected in ways
We're
of like,
connected on the other side.
exactly.
yeah, something comes up and we're thinking, oh, Adam would do this, Odin would do this,
Yes.
And I think when you allow yourself in that awareness, the right people, the right tribe comes in,
Mm,
and aligned opportunities come in. And I feel what I went through was an aligned opportunity. And I think let's just bless ourselves by holding our hands on our heart to have more aligned opportunities, keeping eyes closed, and set intention for 2025 to have more aligned opportunities, more inspired actions, and ways of opening ourselves to being at a higher place so that we can think beyond our comfortable goals and go into the uncomfortable with arms wide open and let that thing stretch us to a place that we are destined to be and beyond and beyond and beyond. Let there be financial abundance, let there be love, let there be connection, let there be emotional release, let there be calm, peace, let there be settling into our best selves and also finding new opportunities to grow, evolve, learn, and be connected deep inside with beautiful human beings in a tribe, holding hands and always being connected. Thank you so much. So
That
we get
was
through this.
the, I mean,
Yes,
yeah,
I just
I
closed my
agree,
eyes.
100%.
I really got to go now. It was
Yeah,
really, really, really very great to
all the
always
best.
connect, as always. We
Yeah, our
always keep
special
in
It was
guest
touch.
was
great.
Odin because it's hard to get through to Odin, right, Adam? So
Oh, come
he's
on,
a
don't tell
special guest.
people.
I know
I'm
he's like
trying
the
to
president.
remain humble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish we could get
Take
the
care, everyone.
fireworks now. Yes, I don't know
All
how the
right, guys.
fireworks work.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Oh,
Take care.
one
Thank
minute
you.
though. It's only one. Bye bye.
See you later.
Thank
See
you,
ya.
everyone.
All the best.